Yeah, Kyle, let's pick up on this whole piece that Glenn has laid out. The hearing's focus is going to be on those extremist groups that were part of the insurrection. What do we know about the ties between Trump's associates and some of these groups, like the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers? And how could those ties actually play a significant role in these hearings?
So the ties that we know about are fairly tenuous, in a sense that we know people like Roger Stone, a close ally of Donald Trump, was flanked by some of the Oath Keepers now charged with seditious conspiracy on January 5th and 6th. We know there were some, communications, I guess, but not necessarily directly connected to what happened at the Capitol. But I think to what Julia spoke about earlier is correct, which is that there was a lot of signaling going on. When the president said, "Be there, it will be wild," these groups viewed that as a call to arms, a call to action. And there was a lot of that back and forth along the way. So the committee wants to highlight how the groups were, the White House and these extremist groups were aware of each other. They responded in a sense to each other, even if not directly, and how their actions sort of were in tandem or in parallel, ultimately converging on the 6th.
So, Glenn, I need you to help wrap my head around this idea that Steve Bannon saying he would waive executive privilege, clearing that, Trump is going to waive it from clearing the way for Bannon to testify before the committee. Let's be clear. Trump has about as much executive privilege as I have gold medals for interpretive dance, baby. Come on. It doesn't exist, right? So why would Trump, right, go down this road? And how could this affect Bannon's contempt charges with Congress?
It probably will not affect Steve Bannon's contempt of Congress trial at all. To this old prosecutor, Michael, this feels like a trial defense ploy. What is Steve Bannon trying to do? He's trying to set up an argument that he wants to use in court that, well, the only reason I didn't comply with the earlier congressional subpoena was because Donald Trump had never waived an executive privilege, as you precisely set out. He didn't have in the first place. Bannon was not part of the administration or the government on January 6, 2021, and any lingering executive privilege is Joe Biden's to invoke or waive, not Donald Trump. But this is where Bannon and Donald Trump, I would argue, are sort of colluding to try to give Bannon a bogus defense in his upcoming contempt of Congress trial by saying, look, I would have testified. I'm offering to testify now because Donald Trump is waiving executive privilege. This is nonsense, and this trial defense strategy will not work.
So, Kyle, very quickly, got about a minute left. The committee issued a statement about former White House counsel Cipollone's testimony, saying, quote, "In our interview with Mr. Cipollone, the committee received critical testimony on nearly every major topic in its investigation, reinforcing key points regarding Donald Trump's misconduct and providing highly relevant new information that will play a central role in its upcoming hearings." What does this mean, Kyle? How does this play out? What is the gravity of Cipollone's testimony, and what impact can we expect it to have?
I mean, if you could have one witness to tell you what was going on in the White House at this time, he's the one you would want. And he was the one who other witnesses talked about was present for almost every significant inflection point in this post-election period, raising legal doubts about appointing, alternative electors to Congress, whether Trump could march to the Capitol, whether they could replace the DOJ leadership or appoint Sidney Powell special counsel to, he was there at every point, either threatening to resign or saying this is illegal. And so the fact that they now have him directly on the record about this could be very significant.
Glenn Kirshner and Kyle Cheney, thank you both for starting us off. Coming up, what former President Trump said about January 6th. In the newly released documentary, we'll show you the video and get into how significant it could be for the Select Committee's investigation. But first, my colleague Richard Louie with today's other top news stories. Hey, Richard.
Hey, Michael. A good Sunday to you. Some of the stores are watching. It may be time to fill up your tank. AAA saying regular gas dropped 30 cents a gallon over the past month to $4.68 per gallon on average. That's still, though, up from $3.14 a year ago. Secretary of State Tony Blinken travels to Tokyo today to offer condolences on the loss of former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. Abe was assassinated at a political event Friday. A wake is scheduled for tomorrow and funeral on Tuesday. This as parliamentary elections took place in Japan today. Results expected tomorrow. And firefighters are battling a worsening blaze in Yosemite National Park. It threatens the largest grove of giant sequoias. The Washburn fire more than doubled in size in just one day. Officials saying its location presents significant safety hazards to firefighters as well. Heat and historically dry conditions fuel the fire that's currently 0% contained. More Simone right after this break.